Hi there, and thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited to have all of you here. And now, one thing I'm going to say before we get started in the webinar is that if you don't already have the workbook, stop right now, back out, and download it because we're going to be, if you have the workbook while we're working through the webinar, it's really going to help solidify a lot of the stuff that we're talking about. And then also later on as reference material, if you've kind of had it along with you while we're doing the webinar, it's going to make a lot more sense. So, that's just what I want to put out there. So today's webinar is all about thoughtful sophistication, self-awareness for success. Now, the whole concept of self-awareness is, generally speaking, in my experience, vague to most of us. And what I'm going to do is start us off with evidence of that and share with you a fun fact that according to Forbes magazine, only 15% of the world are self-aware or consider themselves self-aware. And that means that just by being here today, you are moving closer to being amongst those elite individuals in the world. Hey, that's pretty good, right? That's already a sign of how powerful this webinar could be for you, because that is the first value add that you have just by being in attendance today. You get to know that you are moving towards being amongst an elite group of individuals, because some of the things that we're going to be talking about, I'm going to be sharing with you, the average person absolutely does not know. So while our content-rich time together is short, it's absolutely going to enable you to bring you, it's absolutely going to bring you closer to being more thoughtfully sophisticated, which is what being self-aware is. So I'm going to go between those two terms quite a bit: thoughtful self-sophistication and self-awareness. They're exactly the same thing. If you look in your thesaurus under self-aware, what you're going to find is thoughtfully sophisticated absolutely applies to that. And and that really is what this whole concept of self-awareness is, because when you're thoughtfully sophisticated, you're amongst an elite group of people, and that's absolutely who I believe you to be, and that's absolutely why this is a good use of your time, this webinar now. So self-awareness, again, is thoughtful sophistication, and it's a process. And it's a process because there's steps to it, but it's a process that enables you to be as successful as you dare to be. And there's so many layers to it, and that's again partly why it is a process. Now, as with any process, I think that you have a choice as to how far you want to go with it, right? If you're a detail-oriented person, you may want to examine all the potential opportunities to be more inundated or immersed in the process. And if you're a bigger picture person, you may choose to just kind of go with some of the concepts that can help increase your self-awareness. Now, a little self-awareness is useful. And of course, like anything, the more you know of it, the more content expertise you have, the better you're going to be as it relates to your own personality, as it relates to your own thoughtful sophistication. Now, our personalities and our essences are just in general, regardless of who you are, they're powerful and they're dynamic. And it's kind of funny because just when you think you understand yourself and that you know how to be the best that you can be in order to have the life that you want on your terms with minimal frustrations and great results, well, what you realize is that there's more. There's still another layer of yourself that you could explore more. And you don't really, and you realize you don't really know yourself or that area as well as you thought you did, and it's causing an unnecessary frustration or delay in your abundance. And nobody likes delays, whether you're a detail person or your big picture. So just think of it as an onion, right? And think of it as a journey that was always going to be there, and you can choose to go as deep as you want at any given time, or you can choose. Well, here's what I would suggest. I would suggest you get as much understanding as you can, and then tap into what you feel you're going to need to get to where you want to get to in your life. So it kind of takes both perspectives, right? It allows you to go detailed, and it allows you to stay high level. But the point is, the bottom line is, there's no way around it though. I absolutely know that if you, as a woman that you are, want to get to where you're going, you got to do this journey. And I'm telling you, it's the most exciting journey you'll ever take. I can say this based on my clients. I can say this based on my own personal experience. So basically, but of course, you get to decide how much of it you want. Today, what I'm going to introduce you to, as per the promise of the webinar, is the 3 concepts that in my professional and personal experience enable success. So I'm going to turn off my camera, and I'm doing that so that we can focus on the slides that I've got, the PowerPoint slides, and your workbook, and of course, as you listen to my words, okay? So here we go. I'm turning off my camera. I'm sharing my screen. I'm putting it on PowerPoint, and away we go. So basically, first I'm going to quickly tell you a little bit about me. My name is Sheba Forbes, and for almost 2 decades, I have been an accomplished, trained, certified executive life coach, an entrepreneur. And in all of these initiatives that I've done, my focus has always been on empowering my clients. So I've been in all of these capacities a success catalyst for my clients, and really trying to do that for the broader world as well. Now, my flagship client, just to give you a little bit of credibility about who you're listening to for this webinar, was Suncor Energy. They've been recognized by Fortune magazine as one of the most powerful multinationals in the world. They're amongst the top 500 powerful companies in the world. I work with 5 of their senior executives, and I would be flown out across the country bi-weekly. And one of the clients, one of the executives, said he would only work with me if I would assure him that I could help him achieve his desired position of CEO. That was his mandate for our work together, and I delivered. I share this with you because my client went from $500,000 a year to $12 million a year. And that's not even including stock options. Now, I could share with you all the other things I've done for my other clients in the past 2 decades, but nothing is going to top that. That is the highlight of my professional career. Now, he not only achieved his desired objective, he was also voted the best CEO in the country 4 times in a row during his tenure. And he has publicly attributed it all to the work we did together. So it's not just me saying that, it's him who said that, and therefore giving me the permission to repeat it. So I'm not sharing this with you to boast. I'm only doing it to assure you that the process that you're being introduced to today works. And I've been using it for almost 2 decades. So while you may not seek to be the CEO of a multinational, you are the CEO of you. So I share Steve Williams' story with you to illustrate that this process produces great results. No matter how you slice it, self-awareness, thoughtful sophistication breeds results. It is what gives the individuals who have it a competitive advantage that makes them more successful. Now, the reason why thoughtfully sophisticated individuals are more successful is because they use their self-awareness to be more intentional in their actions, to guide them, to kind of tell them, hey, am I setting myself up for success, frustration, or what? They use their strengths and their values to their advantage, and they mitigate against their blind spots. So basically, this is your time. Here's the agenda for today. Going to be about 50 minutes max. And this is your time. I want you to focus on you. And as you know already, this webinar is about thoughtful sophistication, self-awareness for success. And make sure you have the workbook. And of course, now that you've attended the webinar, I want you to know that you have access to me. The reason being is I'm introducing you to concepts that might be new for a lot of you. And it would be very irresponsible for me to not leave you with an opportunity to seek um, elaboration on some of the concepts. So absolutely reach out to me. And I want you to know that there have been a lot of individuals who have listened to the webinar who have also taken me up on this. So absolutely don't hesitate. And you have the ability to reach out to me and schedule a time based on the landing page that you've received or on the website for mapforward.org. And just seriously know that I'm here to ensure you learn how to be more thoughtfully sophisticated for success so that you can claim your destiny as the queen you are. So awareness is always about the starting point, right? It's the starting point of anything. When we have a clear understanding of what we're trying to achieve, it's so much easier to achieve it. And when we don't, well, then it starts to become a crapshoot, right? And the odds aren't as guaranteed. But who wants those kinds of odds when it's quite easy to consistently win on your terms? I don't know about you, but I like to win. And if there's actually a way to ensure that I win more times than not, damn right I'm going to sign up. Damn right I want to know what it is. And I hope that that's what you're like. I hope that you're saying, you know, screw it. I want a life on my terms. I want to be the person who realizes their potential. And that's what self-awareness is all about, and thoughtful sophistication it's all about. It's about understanding what makes you tick, what drives you, and what your possibilities and potential are. Sometimes we're too close to the forest of our trees, that it's hard to see the trees and the possibilities for success. Or worse, you know, we kind of get used to looking at our lives the way we've always looked at our lives. But at some point, when we keep seeing only the same thing and keep doing only the same thing, it starts to be kind of it's all about the principle of, you know, diminishing returns. And we need to have some kind of way that's not so close to who we are and our subjectivity to really look at what our possibilities and potential is. And so the first scientifically established fact that I want to share with you is that people are predictable. We are predictable. You're predictable and I'm predictable. But that doesn't negate anything. That doesn't negate how amazing and unique we are. It just simply does explain why we tend to kind of always look at things the same way. But if we always look at things with the same limited perspective, well, it's really difficult to use our predictability to our advantage. And that opportunity is the fact that in our predictability is a consistent, success-oriented personality. And when you take the time to really understand your personality, remember, your personality is like an onion. Layer after layer, gets deeper and deeper, gets richer and richer. The flavor is more and more pronounced. So, you know, when you take the time to really understand the flavor of your personality, when you know it, there's going to be little that can hold you back or deny you your potential in life. And until you know and understand your personality in a thoughtfully sophisticated way, it's only going to ever remain as potential. Now, I'm not saying that because I'm a negative person. Absolutely not. I'm a can-do, possibilities, go make it happen, go climb that mountain kind of person. And the reality is, awareness is the starting point of all success. So, who you are is the starting point of all of your success. So, it's imperative that we each know what we've been blessed with. And it's imperative that you know the consistent way you achieve your best results and what your success triggers are. Otherwise, it's likely you won't be as successful as you could be. But why? That would suck. And yet the majority of people don't realize their potential. They aren't self-aware. They aren't thoughtfully sophisticated. And that's proof based on the fun fact that I shared with you at the beginning, right? It's the predictability of each of us that enables us to better control our outcomes. And all you have to do is understand your unique excellence. The easiest, most direct, critical path to being more self aware is that first concept underlined on the slide, your personality. Okay, personality matters. It is your default autopilot. It's what dictates how we each process, operate, experience life, and feel. And it's how we most lead towards our values and our vision. The problem is if we don't understand our personality, we take that crapshoot, hit or miss kind of approach with our vision and our values. But that's not how it's supposed to be. We have lived, absolutely all of us, complicated lives, and some of us, we cringe at the thought of being predictable. But it isn't, as I've said, a reflection of character. It's just a function of behavioral science. According to behavioral science, our personality traits never change unless we're in a drug-induced state, unless we've experienced a life-altering event, or we've had a spiritual awakening. Otherwise, science says our traits are fixed. And after the age of maturity, which is around anywhere from 18 to 20, I'd say, the sooner in life you get a grasp of your operating system and take the time to really understand it, the more effectively and consistently you're going to realize your best results in life and love. And you've got your whole life to keep going deeper and deeper and really kind of like a fine wine, just getting better and better. So we each have two specific personality traits. And when we consistently and effectively lead with them, apply them, know them, we feel most alive and we achieve our best results. And it's really important to know what those two traits are for you, because we can't control the people and places or things out there, but we do have a specific hardwiring that sight unseen, regardless of those people and places and things out there, that equips us, that empowers us to be able to handle and control how we respond to what life throws at us. And it's possible to learn them. And sometimes people, rather than take the time to learn their unique success coping mechanisms, they tend to try to do it like other people do, or they look to other things to help them get through it. And I'm telling you, that's it. Sometimes it may work, but it's too hit and miss. And like I said, you're too good for those kinds of odds. Play to win. It's that easy. So when you know what your two traits are, you're going to just set yourself up, right? Your two strongest traits may differ from my two strongest traits, but that doesn't even matter. What matters is that you know your two personality traits, so you can set yourself up for joy and success on your terms. So you can develop strategies always on some level, bringing in and involving those two traits. Excuse me. Your unique personality is the gateway to your success. And there is and always will be a direct correlation between the quality of your life and your self-awareness and thoughtful sophistication. Too many of us think we don't need to focus on understanding our unique design, but that's just so obviously wrong and so obviously erroneous. And ignorance is not bliss. Don't be taking your cues from life, because you don't respond to the same cues as your friend or your sister or your mother. You have very different, unique cues on some level. Maybe some of them are similar, but you learn your different, unique cues that truly inspire you to achieve. Because the more of those cues that you're aware of, the more likely you are going to reach your destiny as a queen, claim your throne. And remember, we each have different results and contributions to make to this world. And we all get to do it from however we design what that throne looks like for us. If you want that throne to be plush and opulent, absolutely. If you want that throne to be, sleeves rolled up and in the grass and building bridges, hey, go nuts. The whole point is that you are the master of your destiny. You're in control and you play to win. So unless you understand yourself and the cues your essence needs to excel, you won't. And if you don't understand your success triggers and personality, how will anybody else ever understand you? And you deserve to be and feel understood, and you've been hardwired to succeed. So that's really kind of what I want you to get. So let me be honest and clear. There's no way around it. Thoughtful sophistication, self-awareness, it's a process, it's a journey, and it's a path we all must travel if we're to realize our purpose. And the sooner you do this, the longer you have to make your personality work for you. Now, we all intuitively know that this kind of thoughtful sophistication matters and that it's possible to be self-aware. And yet, too many of us women play small rather than operate and exist from a position of strength. And it doesn't have to be that way. And there's lots of reasons why it is. But this isn't about, us saying, oh, woe is us. No, it's about us saying, you know what? Yeah, that's true. But we're stronger than that. We're better than that. And now we're going to do something about that. The movement's on. And you guys are going to be leaders in the movement because the world needs you. So get clear on who you really are, your potential. Know and understand what you have to work with. Realize the success you were created to have. Make more money. Be more fulfilled. Claim your throne as the queen you are. And like I said, personality is the easiest and best way to claim the next concept we're going to be covering in this webinar, and that's your values, okay? And once you understand your personality, which is why I say it's the easiest, most direct way, it's easier to understand and incorporate your values more actively and intentionally in your life. Your values are the keys to your castle. And inside your castle is where the third concept we will cover, vision, awaits you. That's why I say your throne, claim your throne, because it's inside your castle. And your vision can be whatever you want it to be or whatever has been imparted upon you. We all get visions, you see, all of us, not just some of us. The problem is that, unless you're thoughtfully sophisticated enough to understand that your vision and purpose for life is a function and related to your personality and your values, well, unless you know that, you may or may not realize your destiny and your purpose in life. But it's so much easier to manifest when you start via your personality and then your values. Visions are an extension of those. And when you understand those two concepts, you're going to quite naturally believe in and trust your vision, because sometimes our visions, which is a wonderful thing, sometimes our visions are just so huge and out there, and we think to ourselves, that can't be realistic. Absolutely. The bigger your vision that you'll allow yourself to accept and acknowledge, that means that you've been destined for really great things in this world. And you can have whatever vision you're open to receiving. And that's why, again, thoughtful sophistication is the gateway to your success. Now, if you aren't aware of your vision, that's okay, it's there. And it starts with understanding the power of your potential in your personality. And if you don't see it in your personality, then it's there in your values. Let me tell you, let me assure you, everything about you is designed to be as big as you want to be in this life. No more playing small, no more second guessing. Learn how to know and find your answers. So once you say yes to being more thoughtfully sophisticated, you'll see that you are sitting on a pot of gold, and you have so much more inside of you than you ever knew or realized could be possible. You've been designed and created to succeed. So tap into your sizzle as a queen. Remember, a self-aware woman is also pretty sexy. She's sexy because she naturally embraces her essence. And why not be a sexy queen, right? Kate Middleton's got it nailed, so why not? So know your personality. I'm going to introduce you to the 7 personality traits that drive high performance. From there, I'm going to guide you to identify your 2 strongest success triggers. Now, I'm going to introduce you to the concept of values that are your success enablers. And I'm going to highlight to you that before we even get into that, all successful people, consciously or unconsciously, lead with their values. It's not just their intellect, and it may not even be their intellect. It's their values. Your values are your direct relationship. It's a kind of your spiritual DNA. So whether or not you subscribe to a higher power, your values are your tickets to Oz. And they enable you to slay all your dragons and reach whatever visions that you have for your life. Now, all of these things, I'm going pretty quickly. I'm introducing you to the concepts because it's absolutely impossible to do it justice in such a short period of time as a webinar. And that's why we do have a 4-week online course that's pretty powerful and exciting. And I really encourage you, if you like anything that we're talking about, or you want to understand any of these concepts more, specifically as it relates to you, sign up. And also you'll get, access to me weekly if you have any more direct questions that you don't want to ask on our Facebook community page. Basically, the more you understand your personality and your values, as I've said, the more certain you will be your success. And we're going to conclude the webinar by touching on the concept of vision. And, visions are a function of your personality and values. The bottom line is that self-awareness is your map forward to success. Follow your unique path and you cannot fail. Like, it's a guarantee. It's not a guarantee made to you by me. It's a guarantee made to us by God, by the universe. And it makes sense, right? Like, just intuitively, it makes sense. Who we are has to matter. And it absolutely does. Everything flows from who you are. So take the time to understand who you are. And how we do so is we start by owning your power. Like I said, behavioral science has established there are 7 personality traits that determine high performance, power, sexiness in life. And we all have these 7 traits. But what might be hard to believe about that is because they manifest differently for each of us. And you do already know that because we all have a different personality, style, and way we approach life. And if we all just had the same 7 personality traits that manifested in the same way, how boring would that be, right? So we need to understand that we are all part of this crazy chaos. There's actually very much a method to the madness, and you are an integral part of it. Now you have to do your part to understand your role, your potential, so that you can, add it to the world. The world needs it. So it's your personality traits that dictate how you think. It's not about what we think about, it's how we process and respond to everything we face in life. So just think about how cool that is. Your actions, your personality, and your values are part of your excellent hardwiring. And therefore, how you think, how you respond and process is absolutely perfect for you. And that's all you have to worry about. Your goal, your objective, your purpose in life is to be perfectly who God has hardwired you to be. Now, unless you know how perfect you are, it is too challenging and uncomfortable to be intentionally you. It doesn't have to be challenging or uncomfortable, though. It's absolutely possible to be more thoughtfully sophisticated and self-aware. All you have to do to have better results in your life is to know and understand that you have everything you will ever need to be your best self. And that's why it's a process, right? Because if you don't believe you're perfect, you have to have a way to look harder and seek and find objectivity that reinforces that, because you are perfect. And the logic is the more you be that person, the person you were born to be, everything in your life will be better. Learn how to work with your design and avoid tolerating too many missed opportunities in your life. Like, life is too short. Why do that? Your destiny is abundance. It's opulence and joy. And you have everything it takes to have all that whether that's in self-containment, confinement, whatever it is. You can do it all now. So just take that time to reframe your sense of self. This webinar is to introduce you to the concepts that form your power so you can adopt a clearer sense of your brilliance and approach this new decade of your life with purpose, because you become who you are, and you're a queen, and you're able to live in opulence. You're worthy of love and respect as a person of influence who makes the world a better place. Yeah, you. It is your birthright. See, and until you let yourself believe that, it's possible that you'll play small and miss out on the abundance that has been planned for you. You were designed to thrive, not just survive. And all you need to do is believe it. Believe you can thrive. So I'll say it again. You have everything you need to claim your throne as the queen you are. And the only way you can go wrong is by not being true to who you are. 2020 is here. This is your chance to influence your future. And, and because it's so easy for us women to play small, just stop playing small and ask yourself why you would. I mean, I understand. I played small till I was almost 30. And it's only then I became aware of my potential through an easy first step that took me 15 minutes. But those 15 minutes have turned out to be my game changer in every way imaginable. My life is now focused on introducing others to that same powerful process. You already know that my past 2 decades has been on delivering high performance results for my CEO and senior executive clients. And my new awareness also led me to do things that I probably doubt I would have ever let myself do. I was on the Prime Minister of Canada's task force for women entrepreneurs. I was courageous enough to step forward as a delegate on 2 government-sponsored trade summits. I've been featured, profiled, and quoted in regional, national, and international media as a subject matter expert, and I was even on the cover of a business magazine. I've been recognized and was nominated as one of the top 40 under 40 in Canada for my business success, results, and vision. My second book is going to be released globally this year, and it talks about the unfortunate side of when we try to play big in when it's so easy to play small. And that book is Without Compromise. It's called Without Compromise. It talks about my career devastating Me Too story, and it really talks about, again, about how self-awareness helped me pick myself up after I really was decimated. And my career was absolutely, the path that I was on got completely derailed by a powerful man. We all need to know how to take control of our own destinies, and that is through, thoughtful sophistication. Now, each of you has downloaded the workbook with exercises that we're going to walk through in this webinar. You've got the slides as well, and you can just listen to me, or you can do all the above. Our time together is finite, but it's just long enough for you to get more curious about your potential. So all I know about you and for you is that 2020 is your decade for opportunity. And this year is your chance to set the tone for it all. It's possible. And today could just be that day that, this could be that kind of pattern interrupt. This could be that kind of, I can't find the word, but that kind of catalytic moment to help you, to remind you that people never reach their limits. They only think they do. And that's on page 5 of your workbook. Never forget that. Print it out and stick it on your bathroom mirror. I have it posted on my office wall. Now, in the workbook, I use a client of Matt Forward to make the concepts easier to understand, so that when you reference back, it might be easier to remember in the context of Betty. Now, before Betty took the time to better understand her personality, now that's not her real name, just renamed her for the webinar and the workbook. Before Betty took the time to better understand her personality, she didn't really give much thought as to how she did things. She did things the way the society said to do things. She finished high school, she went to university, she, focused on her studies, she did the things she did. She never really stopped to think about really, she had different personality tests provided for her, but they never explained what that meant and how it was to influence her choices and her decisions. And, you know, really, other when you just have that as like a fortune cookie or reading your horoscope, it's an FYI, and they're useful to have, and we love having them. But without knowing how to apply it, their utility is very limited. And that's really a missed opportunity in the world that I think will change, because more and more people are seeking understanding. More and more people like you want to be progressive and be amongst that elite group that plays to win. Anyways, once she lacked awareness of her potential, but once she realized that her potential was limitless, she began to focus on her personality and values. So you see in the workbook on page 7, the 7 traits that are established by Science for High Performance. Now on the slide is a copy of the graph that my clients receive when they work with me, and it's a comprehensive objective overview of personality. When they see their personality in this way, it becomes so much easier to understand, apply strengths, mitigate against blind spots, and easier to develop strategies to have what they want. And this kind of psychometric assessment immediately increases an individual's thoughtful sophistication and self-awareness. And self-understanding. Each of us, as I said, has these 7 traits. They all play out differently in each of us, which explains why an approach that works for you may not work for me, and vice versa. It depends on how we've been hardwired to be. I can't be you, and if I do what works for you, expecting and hoping that it's going to work for me in the same way, I may be very disappointed that it doesn't play out for me like it played out for you. But really, how could it? Since we're both completely different people on the inside. Do you get it? We got to know how we're hired. And we all have our own unique natural sets of behaviors and motivators that we didn't ask to have. And even though and sometimes as a result, they may even feel inconvenient. That was true for Megan. She was one of our participants. She always felt like she was too intense. And so she tried to kind of dampen her style because it was too much for others. She saw how other people responded and she knew how that made her feel. But when she took the time to learn and understand her personality style, she decided to embrace her profile and stop holding back, because she said to herself, and she reasoned correctly at that look, I didn't ask for this. And if this is how my nurture and my nature have kind of resulted in me having this kind of intensity, it behooves me to understand why. Where can I apply it in the world? And that is such a result-focused, progressive, creative, innovative, unique, and powerful way to look at our profiles, whatever they are, because we didn't ask for it, but we can look to see where they're going to fit and fill a need in this world, and where we have an opportunity to step up and play a bigger game in our lives. So she increased her situational awareness, absolutely. And by doing so, she began limiting the time she spent with people and things that didn't appreciate her intensity as it was. Rather than try to change herself, she began to change more and more of her situations. And by doing so, she stopped being frustrated. And she became more conscious about who, what, where, when, how she actually invested her time and energy. The more you understand your personality, the more you understand your purpose and destiny. And the other option is to guess or bluff your way through each day by not considering or factoring in or accounting for your personal excellence. So you see the graph. You see in the middle of the graph, there's a 0 and then the word average. And that's really the center line of everybody's personality, okay? We all start from that center. And we have a left side and a right side. And your personality traits are measured in the same way. You have a left side and a right side to your personality. And if you stick your arms out straight, from the center line, kind of like a T, your personality traits are going to fall on the center line on the left or right of your personality. And each side represents a different set of motivators and drivers. Now, unfortunately, I don't think you can see it clearly on this, but when you get your profile, you'll be able to very clearly see what the behaviors are, and it gives you some of the values associated with those behaviors. So take note in your workbook, though, as to which style most describes you, because I'm going to explain each trait and some of its behaviors. And so those first 4 traits that are blocked off are called your core competencies, and they're the ones that matter because they dictate your style and approach and how you're going to realize success. The second 3 are your secondary traits. And what I invite you to do right now is to just give thought to your personality. Which of the traits that I identify with the behaviors that I identify best describes you? Self-awareness, like I said, is a process, and I'm just giving you kind of a simple, concrete way to be more definitive to your success style. So assertiveness, kind of straightforward, but did you know that you can assert either for consensus and harmony, or that you could assert for risk and results and leadership? So which one of those 2 would you most assert for? Would you assert more for consensus and harmony or for results and risk taking? Your answer is perfect, whatever it is. Just want you to make note of it now, and ensure that you commit to leveraging this aspect of you. Sociability. Are you most interested and focused on information? Is your relationship most with information, data, and numbers and preferring to work alone? Or are you someone who's more focused on people-related activities? Whatever your answer, it's perfect. Just make note of which one it is for you and ensure you commit to leveraging this aspect of yourself. Pace is about the speed of your processing. Are you someone who likes to focus with a sense of urgency in everything you do? Or are you someone who likes to be more methodical and process-oriented? Whatever your answer, it's perfect. Just make note of it now and ensure that that's a side of you, that's a part of you that you are consistently kind of focused on leveraging. Detail orientation. Are you someone who likes to focus on and pay attention to detail? Or are you someone who likes to think big? Whatever your answer, it's perfect. Just make note of it and ensure you commit to leveraging this aspect of you and not trying to be something that you're not. These are the 4 core personality traits that enable success. And they're the traits that you picked. And the traits that you picked may be the traits that if you focused on more could help you achieve even more success in your life. Now, those other 3 traits, I'm just going to explain just to add to your, help you move closer to being amongst that 15% of self-aware individuals and impress people with your elite awareness of behavioral science and high performance. Behavioral adaptability, that's really, like it says, about how effectively or easily a person can modify their behavior. Emotiveness is about, do we process all incoming information from our heart or from our head? And how we process matters because it absolutely influences how hard we push for results. Now, we're aware of that already, but we don't necessarily always know that it's a secondary trait. And what I've found in my experience is a lot of emotional people tend to play more to the secondary trait. And by doing so, if they're sensitive, they tend to be too sensitive. But by doing so, they may hold back on the traits that absolutely directly have the most influence in their overall results and quality of life. So it's not easy, but it's with awareness, you can start to control it rather than having your emotions control you. Now, creativity is self-explanatory. Some people are and some people aren't. And some people need to be and some people don't. So these 3 traits are referred to as, these 3 traits are referred to as the secondary traits, and they influence, but they are secondary. But the problem is that, secondary traits can delay you from accessing the fullness of your potential. But it's way more controllable than that. But it starts with thoughtful sophistication and self-awareness. So that's why I have all my clients and Map Forward participants start their process with this psychometric personality profile, because people never argue with their own data. And it's really just a great starting point to begin the process and move forward towards results and transformation. Now, personality traits, as well as our education, experience, skills, and IQ, are the variables that shape the person that we are and how we perform. It's never about good or bad in terms of our profile. It just is. And it's in our best interest to be thoughtfully sophisticated and self-aware so we can make the kind of contributions we were meant to make in this world and in our own lives. Now, what's also really great about having this kind of thoughtful sophistication is it's really important to not only know who you are, but who you're not. It's such a relief to stop having to fake it. It's such a relief to know that we can be fully content and confident and leverage who we are exactly as we are, because you have everything you need to be successful in this world. God has ensured that. He didn't send you into this world without any ability. He didn't just drop you in the ocean and say sink or swim. Absolutely not. You have everything it takes, but you've got to do your due diligence and find it, tap into it. Workbook gives you some questions, and one of the questions that it asks you um, on page 8 and 9 is which of the two top 4 personality traits net you your best results. So if it's your caring nature or your boldness, then it's assertiveness. Now, if it's your relationship skills or your expertise with information, it's sociability. If it's your high energy or your methodical nature, pace is one of your strongest traits. If it's your attention to detail or to the bigger picture, then detail orientation would be one of your strongest traits. So now the other questions you can answer on your own, and I've given you kind of enough of a description so that you can kind of answer those questions. Now, some of the benefits of self-awareness are listed for you in the workbook as well, and I invite you to circle the areas that you want to focus more on developing or add in your own. And then also think about what kind of plan will you put in place for your transformation. Now we're going to go to the second concept because we run out of time. And this is really why I want you to take the 4-week course. We are a government registered not-for-profit. So this is really about making sure that we've got as many empowered women as want to be empowered and in control of their lives. So absolutely, please sign up for our 4-week course and go in as deep as you want to go on this stuff. So the second concept that I promised for this webinar is values. And when we engage our values, our results and our relationships are all better. And values are a term that's interchangeable with feelings. I think that's why it seems far-fetched to think that quality transformation, our feelings could be the keys to our castle. And, because really values being just our feelings, and we're not really encouraged to use our feelings. And in fact, we're usually required to shelve our feelings and be more practical, do as others do, regardless of how we feel. But behavioral science and life are all coming to realize that that's a big mistake. Our effectiveness lies in our feelings, and our feelings are our swimming lessons. So the problem is when we do, remember I said sink or swim? Yeah, so that was kind of clever. That was a good one, right? Anyways, okay, the problem is when we move away from our feelings, we also move away from achieving the results that have most inspire us and that we most care about. And we're ignoring our key personal success triggers. And it's which, ironically enough, is absolutely not practical. And it only ensures that we tolerate mediocrity. But don't tolerate mediocrity. You're just way better than that. What queen tolerates mediocrity? So you read about Betty and how she's focused on the broader values of life, never concerned with her own unique values. And, she tried to make that work for her, but she admired people who let themselves lead with passion for specific outcomes related to their feelings. And isn't that why Lady Gaga is so admirable? She decided to march to her own beat, her values, her feelings, and she has the courage to be way out there. Life is too precious to waste our time focused on someone else's values and approach, expecting it could ever truly work for you. So instead, focus your time and energy on making your values and personality work for you. It's absolutely possible. Now, history is chock full of people who took the time and made the effort to understand their values. So I've talked enough about why it's so important to know our values. And thoughtful sophistication, like I said, it's a process. Just like learning how to read, work, drive, love, and live is a process. But unless you learn what and how to be your best, you won't be. And it's not unlike your smartphone, right? The more you understand it, the more it works for you. So seize this moment in time, live your best life now, realize your potential. Or don't, and just torture yourself, knowing that you have visions, hopes, and dreams of potential that you're okay letting stay dormant inside of you. But really, why would you do that? Who benefits? You've been equipped with everything you need to be successful. And all you have to do is take the time to find that power, tap into it, because it's inside of you. It's your personality, it's in your values, and it's in your nature and your nurturing. And regardless of how yucky your upbringing may have been, keep the faith. Have your hope restored. It's possible. So you're so much more than your education, your upbringing, your parents, or your looks. But these kinds of psychometrics are not easy and available for the average person. But of course, you're not the average person. And because of my relationship for 2 decades working with the psychometric developer, I'm able to offer this to you and leverage my relationship with them. So that's kind of when we talked about your values, they're your natural motivators and feelings. Ask yourself which are the feelings that are most important for you, because your values are your ticket to abundance. We explain more of how you can kind of put your teeth into that in the webinar. I mean, in the 4-week course. Next, we're going to talk about vision, because your vision's where it all kind of where it all converges, right? Where you bring your personality and your values together. So it's really about, you've got questions in your workbook, and it's really about you just making that decision to want to be the person that you were designed to be and tap into your potential. So you can do anything. You can be more thoughtfully sophisticated. You can believe in yourself. And your vision is really something that you're either going to tap into or you're not. Remember, people never reach their limits. They only think they do. Your vision is huge. Your vision is huge like you. And the more you know and understand your personality, the more confident you can be about your vision and recognize that it's absolutely within your scope of realizing. So I invite you to ask yourself, what's that regular vision that you keep having? Or if you don't, where do you recognize that the opportunity? And that's where the workbook is useful. Where do you see that there's an opportunity for you to develop more of a vision for transformation in your life? Now, unless you know and understand your personality, you won't be able to play a bigger game in your life and truly feel confident about your choices. So that's why thoughtful sophistication is so necessary. And, thoughtful sophistication enables you to make transformation in your life, because you have everything it takes to have all that you desire. And I just want you, my intention for you today was to advance, inform, and educate you on the power of self-awareness and thoughtful sophistication, and help you to be able to identify immediately more opportunity for you to leverage what you've got, or increase your awareness of some of these concepts. Now, there's some personal reflection questions as well in your workbook that you can work through on your own, or you can talk about when you kind of schedule time for us to talk. Unless you unleash your inner hero, your inner queen, you won't claim your throne or be the superhero you are. So I'm going to talk to you quickly about the 4-week online course. The landing page, I think that is because I'm running out of time, and I did promise time for questions and answers. So I'm going to tell you that this is a 4-week online course. It's Self-Awareness for Success. It is $9.95 USD, and there are payment plans available, and there is a refund policy absolutely available. And right now we are offering a buy one, get one free. And what that gives you is access to your own personal artificial intelligence personality profile. And it gives you the 4-week course, which is 5 sessions a week, and an opportunity to be part of a community and have all your questions answered. So I really hope to, if not hear from you, just to have a chat and talk about the course. Hopefully to see more of you sign up and complete your psychometric profile. Hey, your time is now, and today's your day. And I thank you so very much for this opportunity to have come into your life, to be a part of your journey. Look at, we're all in this together, and today's your day. And remember, in all that you do it because it's true. Do it because it's who you are. Claim your throne. Thanks for your time.